It is one of the simplest ways to make a bold statement while adding curb appeal to your home, painting your front door.
I feel like we're at the front door of our house.
I know,
right
welcome.
now. Yes.
Welcome
To the neighborhood.
Okay, as per usual, Sharon Grech joins us with some tips on how to pull this trend off successfully. Sharon, welcome back to TMS.
Sharon is our next door neighbor, by the way.
Yeah, look at
knock,
this.
knock.
You moved in right beside
Come
her.
knock on our door.
So, Sharon, let's talk about your inspiration, where you were recently that inspired you to go bold with doors.
Well, I was just in St. John's, Newfoundland last week, and it was so inspiring because not only are the front doors colored, but the entire home, like, people are not afraid of color. It's bright, it's cheery, it's happy. And I really thought, you know what, no matter where you are across Canada, you can, whether you have a brick house or a siding house and you don't want to paint the entire house, you can always use your front door, and it's an opportunity. It's like a blank canvas to really express your personality. So why not? Don't be afraid.
Okay, first step, of course, is choosing a color, and that might be the most difficult step for some.
It can be, and it can be a little scary and overwhelming. I mean, it really is the thing that it makes a first impression, right? Everyone driving by, walking by, that's what they see. So, and we also at Benjamin Moore, we have over 3,500 colors, so that doesn't make it easier.
Can we get it down to maybe 3?
Right? It makes it very overwhelming. And so you really have to think about, what do you want? Do you want it? Do you want your door to be bold, a bold accent, or do you want your door to be subtle? And I think anything like that, you have to consider what you have around it and what's going to make it bold or subtle, because bold on your house might look subtle on your house depending on the cladding.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's look at some examples.
Yeah, so I brought down 2 doors that we painted, and one is a typical brick, a red brick that you'd see all across in cities across Canada, and the other one a light colored siding. So these are kind of 2 extremes, but it really gives you a good idea of the inspiration for colors and some of the tricks that you might have to consider when you're choosing color.
Okay, so let's start with the brick. That's what we're looking at right now. Why this color? What is this color?
Okay, well, brick, for one thing, red brick especially, is actually the most popular and plentiful brick across cities in Canada. So lots of people have it, and there's lots of different things you can do, but with that sort of darker, saturated color, you really want something to pop. You need a lot of contrast. So, Carolyn, can you grab that black chip there? Yeah, put that up. Black is probably the most popular color that people will pick for red brick, and it gives a lot of contrast, it gives a lot of pop, but it's not your only option. That would give pop, but what if you wanted it to blend in? Then you want to pick more of a mid-tone color that kind of picks up the overall color of the brick, and like the mortar that you're pointing at. Exactly. So that's something a little more subtle. But what I wanted to do was go a little more contemporary, and something that I really like from our 2025, I'm like 25 years behind there, color trends, and this is Ashwood Moss. So it's a really nice, muted, soft, off black, but you can see the green undertones, right? Exactly.
Love it.
And you're going to see it at different times of the day. It's going to look differently, but I just thought that's a nice contemporary look that has a little bit of pop, but it's not over the top.
Yeah, it's great.
Love the knob, by the way, too.
Isn't it beautiful? That's a vintage knob.
Should we move to your house and see what you've done over here?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's go visit the neighbors, shall we?
Let's go visit the pink house. So I mentioned I was in St. John's. This is an inspired color from St. John's. In fact, I discovered that this Benjamin Moore pink punch is part of the historical colors of Newfoundland and Labrador palette.
Really?
Isn't that great?
Yes.
So it made me think, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone and go with a brighter color. And you can see when you've got light colored siding, this could be stucco, this could be light colored brick, whatever you have, you really can do anything. Any color is going to complement that. It's a matter of, expressing your personality. Do you want to make a big statement like I did here, or do you want it to be more subtle? Now here, for the Sheen, I went with a satin finish, so it's a little more casual. For the Ashwood Moss door, I did a high gloss. Okay. So it kind of elevates that rich color, but so the Sheen can also make a big difference, right? To be honest. Now I've got a little color here, tissue pink, so it's got more of a blush, and when you put that against the white siding, you can sort of see a little hint of color. Yeah. When you take your trim and maybe go with a bright white, this is Chantilly lace, you see more of the contrast of that peachy blush. Now, if I put that tissue pink against the brick, it would get a little more overwhelmed from the brick, and then you might as well just use white. But when you have lighter colored siding, you have more options to go for a little subtle contrast or something bolder like pink punch. And again, you can always go neutral. Rockport gray is one of my favorite, probably top 20 colors that over the years that I've helped people select when they want to keep more of a neutral finish, want it to be on the shutters maybe or the front door. So there's so many options, and I also suggest sort of paring down and looking at some of the smaller collections, like the Designer Classics collection, the Historical collection. That way you've got a couple of hundred colors to choose from as opposed to 3,500.
And I can tell you, painting your door is far more economical than getting a whole new door.
It is. I have changed my door around 10 times over the past 20 years because my husband and I can never agree on a new door. My neighbors love it.
You know what you need? A revolving door.
Yes.
One that just constantly changes. All right, Sharon, some great stuff this morning. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate it.
This portion of the morning show is brought to you by Benjamin Moore. Find your locally owned retailer at benjaminmoore.com.